is wholly owned by the Central Bank of Ghana. That gives comfort in terms of structure. In other countries, you would have what we do sit within the Central Bank, but in Ghana, it's a wholly owned subsidiary of the Bank of Ghana. So it gives that structure. Every participant on the national payment rail is licensed by the Bank of Ghana. So that's an element of structure and comfort. Because you know that when you're coming into the country and you are a fintech, first of all, you need to be licensed. We've got close to 100 participants on our network. And when I talk about almost 100 participants, I mean I've got all the banks in Ghana and I've got all the payment service providers. Because in Ghana, we do have the Payment Systems and Services Act that ensures that every financial service provider, I used to have one of the former governors who used to say, if your business touches the Ghana CE, it means there has to be some regulation because finance has to be regulated. We hear all the talk in the virtual asset space, but it's a different conversation. I think that's conversation for tomorrow. For today, the structure is clear. So for every fintech seeking to come into Ghana, especially around remittances, we do have the regulations and the framework that would guide that process. So if you're a remittance service provider, there's a framework you have to go through. If you're coming in as an investor and in a space of electronic money issuance, there's a framework for you. You have to be licensed as a dedicated money issuer, and from there, we will take you through all of that. So we just want to ensure that we give you the comfort, that the structures are there to protect your investment. I think one of the concerns you raised was how fragmented it was. We haven't taken out fragmentation completely, I'd agree with you. I always maintain I'm in Accra, I go to Nigeria, I should be able to transact very easily, or I go to Cameroon, or I go to Senegal. We've still got some challenges, but fast forward, maybe post-COVID, I can tell you clearly we've made tremendous progress, whereby we're trying to harmonize regulations. So for example, between Ghana and Rwanda, we have talks on fintech passporting. What it affords you is that if you are licensed in Ghana and you go to Rwanda, you don't have to go through the complexities of having to go through regulation and all of that. There's going to be a clearance between what you have in Ghana and perhaps just ensure that you adhere to some local tax laws. That's one. There's a similar arrangement that we are currently working on to look at interlinking the switches. I always maintain we can have all the nice policies, but if we don't interlink physically with the infrastructure, we still can't process the transactions. So what we are doing in Ghana, leveraging the successes of our domestic payment rails, is to connect to our regional switches. So we would have a project connecting Ghana's CAS rail or instant payment rails to Nigeria. And then we will move from there to the easier thing about the French is that when you connect to the central bank, when you connect to central banks, because they've got one central bank. So in a nutshell, I think the structure that affords are having regulators to ensure that there's harmonization of regulation. So you don't have a fintech coming into Ghana having to start from scratch. If we harmonize the laws, harmonize the structures, then it becomes a function of maybe AML, which will perhaps be rules that are quite global and standardized. So I think by and large,